In the States or abroad, no one's safe from the talkers of fraud. In the States or abroad, no one's safe from the talkers of fraud.
The following goes beyond the show and beyond the gram to bring you all the fraud that's fit to be uncovered. This is the Fraudcast, and now, here's your fraudcaster and the woman behind Frauded by TLC on Instagram, Katrina.
Hello, and welcome back to the Fraudcast, or if you're new and you're just joining us for the first time, welcome to the Fraudcast. Thank you for joining us. With me today, I have a very special co-host, back by very, very popular demand. I bring you Hanakawa. Say hi.
Hello. Popular demand, huh?
Yeah, oh my God. The reaction I got from your previous appearance on the show has been through the roof. And I don't know, for those of you who are just tuning in, who haven't heard, Hanakawa joined me on an earlier episode, which she co-hosted and did an interview because her ex-husband is Ben of Ben and Akini. So if you haven't listened to that, go back and listen to that. I believe it's episode 3. Go back and listen to that. And she was such a great co-host that I'm bringing her back. And a lot of people asked for her back, so here you are. Don't let it go to your head, okay?
Oh, I'll try not to.
So here we are. We have, the season's still been kind of boring in a lot of ways. I think that there's been a lot of fun stuff happening. That we have, we have some fun ancillary characters. We've got Porn Granny, we've got Hot Boxer, we've got all kinds of interesting things happening. But it's from a fraud perspective and from a sort of overall happening perspective, I've been finding it still relatively boring.
Yeah, I would agree. And you're right. The side characters are actually better this season. Like the kids.
The kids are great.
So
the kids are great. Yes. So we're seeing a lot of like Max and Cece, who are Michael's kids of Michael and Juliana. So it's been good to see them. They've had a lot of fun things to say. And we'll get to some of that in a little bit as well. So we're going to start you off in a fun, exciting way. Listen to this.
I'm thrashing on my beat, I'm skating on it like, I'm mashing to the beach because we about to have some fun. We with some bitches in the sand, they soaking up the sun. We on that Southern Cali side, I'm repping where I'm from.
So, do you know what that was?
that was his music, right?
That was Blake, also known as Hollow Brooks.
And so I never like to jump and say, I don't like someone's music if I don't actually sit and listen to it. Mm-hmm. And so I went to the music place where you get the music, and I actually listened to some of his music. Okay. And I'm quite impressed, actually.
Yeah, it's not bad. Not bad.
I was thinking more of, okay, so my cousin, I don't know where he is now. He's probably in New York City or he's in LA. He goes back and forth. Starving artist. Very humble, but he has his like LA Hollywood dreams. And so I thought that this was another one of those, welcome to Hollywood. But no, I was actually impressed listening to it. He's not a bad musician, so I'll give him the props where it's deserved. It's not bad. I'm skeptical of music, so.
yeah. It seems like he's got some legit cred on this. That it's not just the music that he makes, but he also has the behind the scenes, the production, education and whatnot. So digging into some of that background on Blake and Jasmin, I was able to discover some new things about the most anticipated couple of the season.
Oh. What was that?
So what I've learned about them, so the fact that he's got this, his girlfriend's sister happens to live 10 minutes away from him, has been this source of like, what? That's a coincidence, And so myself included, a lot of people have suspected that perhaps the sister was using some kind of location dating app and reeled him in and then handed it off to Jasmin. and she took over and it was like, oh yeah, hi, no, I'm just kidding, I'm in Finland. So, and like I said, I bought into that theory myself. Now, what Blake says the story is that is not actually true, is that at the time he met Jasmin, the sister had not won her green card lottery yet.
Gotcha.
So she wasn't actually living in LA, that the sisters were in LA on vacation, and he met them that way. So he met Jasmin when they were in LA. I'm not sure what the show says about how they met, but they met when she was actually in LA. This is according to Blake. So they met, and then she went, like the next day was going back to Finland. So the sisters go back to Finland. And it was after that sometime after that, when Blake and Jasmin were getting to know each other and talking on this dating app or whatever, that the sister won her green card lottery and moved. And she happened to move, 10 minutes away from him, but it's LA. So then that's where he met them. So they had wanted to go to LA. They like LA. So it happened to be, that's where he had met them because that's where they were there on vacation. So when she gets her green card, she moves to the United States. She's moving to LA because that's where she wants to be.
Gotcha.
Maybe she wants to be, further her career or whatever. So that's the story behind them. And when you say 10 minutes in LA, you know,
10 minutes
I've
as
been
the
there.
crow flies.
Right.
10 minutes depending on the day, because I was born in Los Angeles, so I didn't grow up there, but yeah, we go there a lot, and I'm like, 10 minutes could be a lot of directions from LA.
Yeah. So it's a really big town. And so it's not unusual. So that is where that story comes from, or that is what the backstory on them is. Again, according to Blake's side of things. I've not been able to prove or disprove that one way or the other. So another thing that he wanted to share that I found interesting was the shit that she was getting for not drinking. So she doesn't because she doesn't want to put poison in her body.
Okay.
But then people were giving her shit for like having Botox and fillers and whatnot. So
dear.
has that not poison? I mean, Botox is literally poison. So his reaction to that was, one, she doesn't have Botox. She's never had Botox. But yes, she has had fillers. It's not the same thing as Botox. It's not poison. In any case,
I mean, it could be fat.
Yeah.
Right?
So I guess, I don't know. If people are calling her a hypocrite, I guess, I don't want to put that poison in my body, referring to alcohol, but we'll do other kinds of things injected into her body. I don't know. I mean, I have a certain view of alcohol being a poison, being in recovery, being a recovering alcoholic. So I do view it as poison, but I'm all too happy to put Botox into my forehead for my migraines or vanity, either one you choose.
I mean, it comes down to it being her personal choice of what she wants to do and not do with her body. So, I don't know. I was going to say Botox couldn't kill you, but it is botulism, right? Isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's literally a toxin.
I don't know. That's just...
To each his own.
Each their own. It's her personal choice.
I'm of the belief that it's everybody's personal choices, and her choice of the words, I don't want to put that poison in my body, referring to alcohol, but then people trying to call her a hypocrite because she'll have fillers or whatever. I don't know that that's a fair comparison. Technically, I guess from a very highly technical standpoint, maybe it is, but people not wanting to drink, I think, is a different category of things than whether you'll get plastic surgery. So sure. I don't know, maybe just a little bit of overreaction there, but I mean, there's a lot of things we can snark on her about, not wanting to talk while she's eating. And
well, it's funny. It's funny you say that because on my Instagram I put out a poll asking if someone liked to eat and talk, and most people said yes. And I'm guessing they're from the American culture where it's like an expectation almost to like socialize while you're eating. But in a lot of different cultures, especially hers, you eat your food and then you talk. So for her, I think it was more of, this is just how I was raised. You don't talk and eat. And so I kind of feel like that was something that played into it, because I discussed with someone who is in that same culture who's like, yeah, that's totally normal. They're like, we think it's weird that you actually want to eat and talk. So I'm like, you have a point. Like, my mom was always like, can you just finish eating before you? I was like, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. You know, I mean, you know, somebody was saying, you know, she's not this cold ice princess. She's just Finnish.
Yes. So. And I think, you know, I don't know. I don't know many people from Finland, so I can't say, oh yeah, that's, you know, that's just typical. But yeah, I would definitely say that there's probably some cultural differences there, you know, especially with Blake maybe trying to understand why she's very reserved or not wanting to talk and eat, or the way it's filmed makes her come off as like some ice queen. Like,
right.
Don't talk to me. I want to go back to the room. Leave me alone, you know. And
well, it also was her like first day there, right?
And Finnish. I mean, like...
right, jet lagged and Finnish. She was her first day.
Yes, I would be personally angry if I traveled that far. Probably had to do how many layovers, and you want to go party with your friends.
Right.
I'd be like,
I would have preferred to drink tea and go lay down in another room.
Yes.
With her as well.
Yes. So I
can't fault her for that. So, and then there's a little bit of a rumor going around. I don't know how big of a rumor it is that she's pregnant. There's a picture going around where she's kind of sticking her belly out, and people, as they do on Everybody, was, you know, speculating if she was pregnant in it. And Blake confirms absolutely not.
I must have missed that one. I mean, I've been seeing so much about what's her face being pregnant, but I didn't see the one of
Tanya being pregnant.
Yeah.
Oh, who was doing shots on her lives or whatever.
That was just saying, I'm not pregnant, guys.
She's 29, as she made very clear on this episode. Who's still doing shots like that in Mexico at age 29? Is that still a thing? Is that a thing people do?
I never did it in general. I didn't have that much fun in college or later on in life. But, I mean,
go for it. Party.
Go. Have fun.
Know?
Yep.
Go on with your bad self.
Just feel better in the morning. Make sure it's actually alcohol if you're in Cancun. It's my only advice.
Oh, God. Scary.
Do you remember that? How people were being served not alcohol, or they were being served like, I'm not correct on what liquid it was, but it wasn't alcohol. And it was disguised as vodka, and it was like gasoline or something. People were ending up dead because it's a clear liquid and they wanted to make money. And it was a big fiasco a couple of years ago in like Cancun and some of the high tourist areas. But yeah.
I don't know if I remember that. Yeah, you know, I mean, I went to college in San Diego. I went to San Diego State. Go Aztecs. So I was right across the border from Tijuana, where the drinking age was 18. Now, I went to college. I was 17 years old when I went to college, so I was even too young to drink in Mexico. But once I was old enough, we crossed the border to Tijuana all the time, and, you know, they're pouring, you know, alcohol straight from the bottle right directly in your mouth and all of these things. Like, all kinds of craziness would happen. And, you know, I'm just glad that social media wasn't around back then, because I probably would have been like, oh, look at this live. And then it would have all been out there. And thank God it's not.
Social media is destroying it. But yeah, we're all benefiting from it. But, you know.
Well, hey, it gives me something to do. So anyway, speaking of social media. So splashed all over everyone's social media continues to be Lying Laura. Now, Laura of Laura and Aladdin from The Other Way last season she's not with him anymore, and was last seen in Ecuador. And I believe that's where she still is currently. She is allegedly now, she's saying that she is dating this guy whose name is Tony, who runs the Chantel Tea blog account. Now, I normally have a policy. I'm not going to like discuss other blog accounts, anything like that. Like whatever. Like everybody has their own place in this world. We all have our little corners. We all have a place in this fandom. Everybody does their thing. But the two of them have been splashing this all over social media about them being together, which is really kind of funny because Laura is known for lying and Tony is known for being openly, outwardly gay. So what everyone's asking me, what is going on? Is this legit? Is this legit? I don't have any hard evidence on this one way or the other. I have circumstantial evidence, which, you could put a case together with circumstantial evidence. But Laura has a history of lying, and he's outwardly gay. So, and he lives in Las Vegas or LA, and she's in Ecuador. So I've seen some text messages where she's talking about how great the sex is and all of this other stuff. And I'm just like, I'm shaking my head because it can't be true. This cannot be true. I can't live in a world where this is a true thing.
Well, maybe he's traveling. Going on vacation.
Maybe he likes both men and women. Who knows? Which is fine. If that's your thing, that's your thing. But do we really think that this is, are they a legit couple?
I'll wait for the next season of 90 Days the Other Way. Maybe he'll be going to Ecuador for her. Because she's not an American citizen, right?
Correct. She's
Canada,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I try to keep up with this stuff. She's from Canada.
She is Canadian, yes.
So they could definitely do like a spin-off series where he's going to go visit her and maybe, see if it works in Ecuador.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know, you guys. This one is just it's like the social media gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, there's always that rise in social media where it'll get everywhere and then it'll fizzle out, and then I don't know what's to gain from it, but they're having fun, so.
Yeah. Do I believe it? I don't really believe it, but do I have anything to support that? Just circumstantial evidence.
Right.
In that I don't believe a word out of Laura's mouth ever. Anyway, so what else we got? Anna and Marcel got married.
They did get married.
They did.
Or they have a ceremony date that indicates that they were married.
Yes, we have a ceremony date that indicates they were married in Nebraska on September 8th. Now, I have some intel on the ground that says the wedding almost didn't happen. And that it was like, I don't know the details yet. That was just coming to me, so I'm still having to sort it out. But allegedly, this wedding almost didn't happen. And then when it did happen, a lot of people couldn't be there, so there's not very many people there. So maybe what we see on the show, like the previews and whatnot, I'm not sure what we're going to see on the show, but they do have a ceremony where there's a legal document in Nebraska that says that they got married. And so that's what we have on them. Whatever TLC's pushing about him leaving without her, all this stuff, and they're really cringeworthy communication scenes.
No, I know. I mean, by now I hope it's better, but it has to be difficult trying to communicate on a phone.
It's difficult to watch them try to communicate. I can imagine actually trying to communicate.
Right? I mean, it's hard enough trying to communicate when you can understand English. When you speak English, it's hard to communicate with your spouse.
Right? Oh, my God. Yeah. So anyway, Anna and Marcel, our boring beekeepers, get married. We'll see. We'll see how long that lasts. And what else we got? I made a post about Emily and her life after giving birth to David in Russia, and you guys had some feelings about it. You guys reacted to it. And so I wanted to briefly address that in that. So Emily has been portrayed consistently on the show as this entitled and that she's special and different, right? She said the first 2 wives were mistakes. He just happened to marry them, and we're different because we're perfect and I'm different. So then when she posts, she has, the baby, and she's alone in Russia for reasons because Sasha didn't do the paperwork in time. So she's already annoyed and resentful at him because of that. And she's there longer than she wanted to be. Then she posts about new motherhood is she's tired and she doesn't have any alone time with Sasha. My reaction was she sounds really surprised that new motherhood is hard. It's like, and so my post was entirely to that point, and only to that point, was that the sound of surprise in her voice when she was saying that it's isolating and it's hard and he works all the time and we don't have any couple time. It's like, oh, really? And water's wet. Everybody knows this. Literally every single new mother has experienced this. That was what my post was meant to be about. However, it was taken the wrong way.
As a lot of things that are written in text are. And intentions aren't seen. Because, without context, just looking at the picture, because I was trying to, go back and forth, just looking at the picture, what she says is she's basically speaking to every new parent, especially a new mother who's gone through having a baby and your life completely changing overnight because you've gone from waiting for baby to I have baby and holy crap, this is different. And in some cases, it sometimes does suck. She's got a lot of things going against her. She's in a different country. As TLC portrays, she doesn't speak the language.
Even though she actually does.
She doesn't have the support structure that a lot of new mothers do. So, maybe her mother or friends or family nearby, combined with her husband working long hours. Being the parent that stays at home, it is very difficult to cope with. So I've been in three different places. I've been stay-at-home mom with a husband. I've been stay-at-home mom with a husband that's not around, and I've been single mom. So in all 3 situations, I did experience my own stint with postpartum depression, and so when you add that context into it, which I don't think she states in the show.
No, she didn't.
So it's hard to, I wouldn't assume that was something she had challenges with. When you add all that context in, it's hard to probably have gone through that and then see a post that says, you're whining. I'm thinking that, it was just taken out of the context that you meant it to be in, but sitting on the other side of the fence, I could see why people probably jumped on it, like, you're being insensitive, she's a new parent. But
yeah, okay, and I can admit that it was seen that way, and I do apologize for my role in that. When I created the post and posted it, my intent was solely focused on the content of the surprise she was expressing at the difficulty of new motherhood. And my post was intended solely to be poking fun of that and not at new motherhood itself and the difficulties that entails. I've been there. My baby daddy was working those kinds of hours when I had a newborn. I understand it. It never intended to have the context of I'm making fun of new motherhood or I'm making fun of her for finding new motherhood difficult. However, I posted something that did at least create the impression of that. And for that, I do apologize because that was not my intention. And to Emily, I'm sorry that for what my role was in perpetuating that out there. So, and to everybody else who felt like I was minimizing new motherhood, I also apologize for that. So that's about it. That's really all we have for this new season this week. There's really not a lot.
There really isn't.
You know, we have, again, the side characters. We have Porn Granny, who I'm trying to get on the show, and we have Hot Boxer, who I did get on the show, and you guys will be hearing from him a little bit. I had an awesome interview with him. He's going to be sharing all the behind the scenes, everything about it, and answering the big question that everybody wants to know: is he single?
Oh
But
my
first-
goodness. These people, the questions.
You guys had some questions for him. But first, our social media roundup. This is where we, enter the sound effect, the yeehaw sound effect. Can you give me a yeehaw?
Yeah.
There you go.
You better sound bored than me. That's terrible.
All right. So what do we have? We have Jesse and Tom were spotted together in New York City. My suspicion is they're filming something, although there was no cameras captured in the picture. Thoughts?
Really? I think it was probably Tom actually maybe getting one of those famous therapy sessions from Jesse.
Oh, right. His psychology degree.
Or maybe they're co-hosting a podcast.
Who would do that?
They're all the rage nowadays. I don't know.
So
Maybe they're mending bad blood that was made during the recording. Sometimes you can bond over dating someone and realizing that,
So maybe when Akini finally wises up and dumps Ben, you and Akini are going to go get pedicures together?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was that my out loud voice?
Oh, we're hoping them well, but yeah.
Wish you well.
Wish you well.
Speaking of well, Stacy and Florian are still together, back together. They're together in Albania. Albania had an earthquake. Stacy went live immediately after because she wanted to let everybody know that they were safe and that she and Florian were together. And this was right after all of the news from last week about Shanti and whether Stacy was or wasn't pregnant and everything. So, but they were fine. The earthquake happened and they were fine.
I think I saw that video too. I thought it was awkward because it looked like he was trying to run from the camera.
Maybe he
Like
didn't want to be caught.
she slowly moves it over toward them. He's like, oh shit.
Oh, so Sinjin was arrested for having a small amount of pot, and finally that was out on social media. I guess whatever he pled to or something. It was a very small amount of marijuana, and I guess Connecticut still hasn't come around to legalizing it yet. So there's that. I think he pled no
He should
contest.
have just said it was his herbal remedy. Isn't he married to by this time she's a professional shaman,
Witch doctor.
herbalist, witch doctor.
That's what she called herself. She wanted to be the neighborhood witch doctor, which we know is of high demand in rural Connecticut.
Oh my goodness. I have
not
a
at
thing
all.
about accents too, so of course I like his accent, but I would love to hear him just be like, it's just medicine, man. It's just medicinal.
On just a complete side note, I think it's interesting that people are still getting arrested for small amounts of pot, because I live in an area where small amounts are decriminalized. Not legal, but sort of decriminalized. So the small amounts aren't that big of a deal. I work for the federal government, which it is still illegal for the federal
Correct.
government. Although recently there was a bill in committee to legalize it on the federal level, and that was just committee, and it's not going to go any further than committee. But at least it's starting to make its
It's
rounds
starting to
there.
percolate up there, right?
Right.
Especially since, this is just my personal view of the money that's spent persecuting someone for carrying something that small. All the money that goes into it. I just think as a taxpayer, it's like
Yeah, I mean, there's
we
the
could
whole
be spending that time somewhere else. And
criminal justice side of marijuana and the war on drugs and all this stuff, which is a whole other subject. There are podcasts upon podcasts and documentaries about that.
Yep.
Which is beyond the scope of our trash.
It so is. But,
so let me work through
just
this.
Lived in like Arizona or Seattle,
Colorado.
That's right, Colorado. So maybe they just need to relocate. He'll be good.
There you go. Sinjin and Tanya, who clearly isn't pregnant based on her shot intake. So then we have Sarah. She is the ex-wife of Michael and Juliana. So Sarah was verbally attacked because the scene on TLC showed her telling Juliana that she didn't want her to parent. And so Sarah comes on social media and wants to explain that what TLC didn't include was that TLC had cut this and spliced it. And the TLC didn't include the rest of the sentence where she was saying to Juliana, you're adjusting to a new home, a new country, and a new relationship. You shouldn't have to also parent. That was the context of the whole sentence. And that was cut. So it made it sound like Sarah was saying you shouldn't have to parent, or you don't parent, or I don't want you to parent. She was saying it in the context of you've got all these things going on. You shouldn't have to worry about that also. So she came out on social media about that. And I see you shaking your head, Hanakawa.
Yep, and I even reposted it because it wouldn't be good TV if she was being nice to the new wife, right?
Right.
I mean, it's almost a given that they're going to cut out anything that makes you look like the good ex-wife on TV. But for me, of course, everyone knows I have that same opinion of you shouldn't have to get here and acclimate to a new country and culture and start parenting kids at the same time. That's just ridiculous. So I kind of gave the, hand clap of yay. But, there's also the speculation that wasn't cut, and I don't know. But, It is what it is when you deal with TLC editing, unfortunately. They need to make some kind of dramatic scene, and it's funny because my boyfriend and I were watching that scene, and he was just like, damn. She really told her. I was like, I don't know. I was like, I can't imagine that would be phrased that way. He's like, no, it's clearly cut that way. So we both,
Yeah. Way too jaded and cynical watching the show that I automatically say, no, it's got open editing.
I know. It honestly has ruined me to...
Well, speaking of the same...
on that side.
That whole same couple is I thought the whole Juliana buying a car on the credit card, like that had to have been a TLC thing. Like that didn't really happen. Why would she have Juliana bought a car? And so I reached out to a source and I was like, well, this had to have been, this had to have been TLC. And I was told, nope, you're wrong. That really happened. It was a really inexpensive car, but no, that really happened. And then we saw on this past episode, Juliana talked about her sister using it for a cab. But my first thought was, no, that's not true. That didn't really happen. And it did. So I was told in no uncertain terms, you are wrong. I was like, okay.
We always push the limits of what we can do. And I can imagine it being like, okay, I'll buy a car. What's common sense to us of saying I wouldn't buy a car and a credit card may not have been common sense to it's money, right? This card is money. And I'm pretty sure from her sentiment on her lives when people ask her, she's like, I'm done talking about the car. Like, I get it. I bought a car. Credit card. As long as I guess the confusion was mainly she's buying a car but expecting to come out here, so why would she buy it?
Why would she? Didn't make sense.
Didn't make sense. Maybe she just wanted to at least make sure she got a car out of it if she couldn't get here. There's all kinds of comments about why she bought a car, but I honestly think she just didn't think it was a terrible thing, Especially if it was like a $5,000 car. I can't imagine that, she swiped a Ferrari on his credit card.
Right. Like, where would you get one in Brazil, in where she lives anyway? And she says, what, her sister's using it to drive a cab, right?
Yeah, so
to make money
it's getting used. It's helping them make money. I'm pretty sure it was a minor, maybe a discussion between them, but I think that it's been blown out of proportion of what it really was,
Yeah. I think also what's happening with them is the phenomenon that everybody was expecting to hate them. And it turns out people actually really like them. They're actually very likable as a couple. So people are trying they're grasping at things to try to, find something to snark on with them.
I would say that couple has, it's really hard to find bad things. Everyone picked on the age at first, but since the age has fizzed out, there's almost, it's almost nothing. Like she's honestly sweet and seems genuine, and
they seem to genuinely love each other.
And there's kind of that energy from her being like maybe the lost energy that he was missing. You need a little bit more pep in your life, and she seems to be that. And so that dynamic sometimes works. We have like the balloon hooked up to a rock. Mm-hmm. So you have the person who can still dream, and you have the rock who's like, nope, we're gonna
he's clearly going through a midlife crisis, but it seems like she's a good fit for that. And it could be a lot worse, I guess.
Yes. Could have been driving a red car.
The car wasn't red. So here's something else that's happening, which is kind of bumming me out, is that Max, Michael and Sarah's kid, has been getting attacked on social media because of his weight. So he's pretty active on social media. You've seen him. He's out there, right? So he's getting attacked because allegedly he's a little overweight. Now, I don't know what the proper weight range is for kids his age, so I have no commentary on that whatsoever. But dude, leave the kids out of it, you guys. So
yeah, I mean, unfortunately, they think because they're on the show, they're fair game. But I'm like, under any circumstance, like kids are off limit. They're off limits. And he does go on his lives. People go on there, they say things, and it's just kind of like, I don't understand the thought process of wanting to insult a child.
Right.
So
Sarah went on and talked about how he had gained weight because he was depressed due to the divorce. So she tried to explain that. So that's where we're at with that. But you guys just leave the kids alone. Leave the kids out of it.
And she shouldn't have to go on there and explain why. She shouldn't have to go on to explain anything. Like, that shouldn't even have been a topic for her to have to get on to defend. I'm going back to, like, as a mother, just stop.
Yeah. So rounding out the rest of the social media roundup, we had Darcy showing a video of a ring on her finger, and some think it was from Michael. A lot of think it's a PR stunt. She's worn costume jewelry rings on that finger before, so I don't know that anybody buys it. But it's got a lot of people talking, which I think is probably her.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what she was showing off, the tattoo or
the really bad tattoo.
I mean, I would just take a picture of the ring. I don't get it. Like, I was trying to see it. It looks so big that I'm like, there's no way. there's no way that's like not, what is that stone? Wassenite?
Yeah.
I can never say that word. I'm like, damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, okay.
Yeah, and if Michael allegedly lost his job due to Darcy, so I don't think he can afford a rock that size. So, that's just my 2 cents on it. What else we got? We got Aladdin making a big to-do about women offering him money and green card online. Apparently, women are going after him, offering him money, and he says he's not a piece of meat and he's not for sale.
But his tours are.
So if you want a tour of Tunisia with the Tunisian love rat Aladdin, go right ahead. But you guys, he's not for sale. He's not after a green card.
Stop trying to buy the man. It's
Speaking
cake
of men who
that
can be-
wins people over.
Speaking of cake and men that could be bought, Angela and Michael.
Oh no.
Michael!
Oh no, they were in the preview.
Looks like we're going to get to see them finally. There's a Michael fan page, and Angela has been going hard after whoever runs that and trying to get people to report it. And how dare you have a fan page and it's not us. And she's been going hard after it. So
Is it still up?
I don't know.
I've been
As
like
of-
the weird person who keeps looking at Instagram to see when they're going to disappear. And so,
welcome to my life.
that's one of them.
Oh, so before we move on to the interview with Hot Boxer, I wanted to bring the viewers and the listeners up to date on a little bit of history. It's time for a history lesson. Dun, dun. So I'm scrolling through my phone the other day in my Time Hop app. And it's an app that shows you all these, pictures and things from this day, last year, 2 years ago, whatever. So it showed me this video from last year, and I was like, well, what is this video? And I'm scrolling through it, and I'm watching this video, and oh, it's Jonathan's Winker. So it reminded me it's the 1-year anniversary of Penisgate. So I thought I'd give you guys a little history lesson on what Penisgate is. So we had Penisgate 1 and 2, because there's more than one.
Oh no.
So I know. So this is what happened. For those of you who weren't around, season 6 was airing this time last year. Dumpster fire of a season. We thought this one was bad. Like it was terrible. It was really boring. And then all the cast just exploded on social media, and it was terrible. And by exploded, I mean literally. There's videos of it. But that's part of Penisgate. So what happened on this? So there was Jonathan and Fernanda, and Fernanda had posted a live video on like a Instagram live. Like it seemed like she might have done it accidentally, but like accidentally on purpose maybe. And it's this video of her talking to him, and then all of a sudden there's his penis. And they're saying, what is it? What is that? Ha 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 ha. And he says, it's my fucking penis.
Oh no.
And so this video was up, just very brief time. She immediately pulled it down, but 8,000 fans screen recorded it before it was pulled down and sent it to me.
Of course they did.
And every fan account out there. So we were getting inundated with penis pictures. Now, none of us are going to repost penis pictures because like we're not going to post nudes without consent. So none of us were going to post this video, but we talked about it, right? Because everybody is sending it to us. So there was a lot of memes and things going around about that. So every meme account had this. None of us were sharing it, and people were upset about that because they wanted to see Jonathan's penis. And I mean, I could tell you it was perfectly average size. Which, given who he is, it's perfectly fine, perfectly average penis. And then. So none of us were posting it, but some of us were posting about the situation. And then Jonathan and Fernanda started going after every blog account, saying, like, with threatening legal action. And it's like, what, threatening legal action for what? I didn't do anything. Like, we can talk about it. You're a public figure. We can talk about it. Nobody's sharing the pictures. No one's sharing the video. Talking about a situation that happened is not illegal. And in my case, it had to be Fernanda that reached out to me because Jonathan had already blocked me because I was just a clown blogger and Colt had more fans than I did. It was a whole thing. It made the tell-all. It was a whole thing. So Jonathan and I were not friends. So Fernanda reached out to me, and then I was like, yeah, no, there's, New York Times versus Sullivan. You're a public figure. There's no malice. There's no false information. You have no legal action here. We didn't do anything, go fuck yourself. Although, no, I didn't say that. But basically, like, you have no standing. Like, thanks, but go home. So that was Penisgate 1, was Jonathan's penis. Not to be outdone in this battle between who's the bigger douche, Jonathan or Colt from season 6, which was a whole season-long thing. Colt's penis pictures were released. Now, allegedly, they got leaked, but from what ultimately ended up happening, we believe, I think the consensus is that Larissa actually leaked them to somebody for release. Like, she intended the leak to happen.
Gotcha.
And there's a video, and there's a still photograph, and he's wearing a red shirt, and that's it. And he's standing, and then there's another video, and then I'll say this: he's if Jonathan is an average size penis, Colty is less than average size penis.
Oh, goodness.
So 2 days after we have Jonathan's wanker inundating us in our inbox, now we have Colt's wanker inundating us. And the video, you guys, it's bad. It's like it's an action video. Let's just put it that way.
It's an action video.
And then Colt started, not, got to make light of this, right? Colt started selling, whether he was really doing this or not, but selling pieces of the red T-shirt that was shown in the picture.
That's how you do it, though.
What are you gonna do, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah, and there was a lot of photoshopping and things that were happening, not with Jonathan's, but with Colt's.
No.
Things that it was being compared to. And,
Oh my goodness.
And yeah, and again, with that, we weren't sharing those either. So that's Penisgate 1 and 2, and that all happened within like a week of each other. So every blogger and fan and T account out there was getting inundated with dick pics and videos forever, and it just no, you guys, just no.
What a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive. And
didn't his dick pics also come with malware?
I have no idea.
I have to find a post and send it to you, because I unfortunately was not in the know of all that when I scrolled past that story, but it was like, if you downloaded my pic, then you have malware and I'm watching you.
Oh God. I think that had to have been a joke, right?
I'm pretty sure it was, maybe. He is in IT, right?
Yeah. And then I thought, okay, we're done with the dick pics. We're done. And then a few months ago, somebody released to me what it was allegedly Colt again. I guess this is his MO. He likes to send, videos of himself playing with himself, with his very little Colt to people. And it got sent to me. And of course, I'm not going to really, share it and release it. I don't know if it's him. I have no way to prove it's him. Thank God. But yeah, like, can I just get through a season without a dick pic in my inbox? Please. Anyway.
It's like, no. But they have those new penis detectors that, God, what dating app is it? Where it scans the picture before you open it to identify if it's a penis or not.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That would be wonderful. I need that in my DMs.
We were joking about that, but it like scans it to see if it's a dick pic, and then it like doesn't let you send it, or I guess it warns the receiver. I can't remember.
You guys don't send dick pics. Just stop with it, okay? Just stop. Anyway. So there's your history lesson for today. That is Penisgate 1 and 2. Anything to say on that before we move on to our interview?
Let's just not make it Penisgate 3.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, let's not make it Penisgate 3. Although I suspect several of you would like to see Penisgate 3 with my next guest, which is
Lord.
Miguel. Miguel, the pro boxer from the boxing gym that Robert and Anny visited in the show this week, that he also played the role of marriage therapist. He sat down with me, and virtually sat down with me because he's in Florida and I'm in cold, rainy DC. But gave me an interview, and he gave me all of the behind the scenes information. And as I said before, he's answering the question that was most asked, and that is, he's single. So here we have Miguel. What can you tell me about how you were approached for the show? Did they come to the gym? Do they come to you personally?
No, what happened to me was I was just at my house chilling. I had just worked that day, and they called me the manager at the job, she called me and she pretty much was like, hey, we have this thing. And she pretty much begged me to come. And she told me that she was going to pay me $50 extra, which I don't even know if she honestly paid me. But I was like, that was really what convinced me because I didn't know what was going on. So I was like, yeah, sure. Okay, whatever. I'll go. Like, you pay me, I'll go. So I went, and when I got there, I see all the cameras and stuff like that. And it was a lot different than what I had originally expected. But I honestly thought it was just some like low budget, like nice, like local thing. I don't know. I had no idea what I was getting into. Yeah.
Oh gosh, it's like a 90-day phenomenon. Like the show is such a huge ratings hit, and then these side ancillary characters. There's always one that for every couple has these ancillary characters, and there's ones that's like it's this phenomenon that like everybody gloms on and was like, oh my god, that person is the breakout star. Like actually for the same couple, Porn Granny is one.
Oh wow.
Robert's son's grandmother is a porn star.
Oh my god, no way.
Yeah, and she's been appearing.
Fucking unbelievable. That is
yeah. So Robert and Anny are terrible, like as a couple, but all of these ancillary characters are providing great entertainment. So yeah, what can you tell us about when you met Robert and Anny? Like what did you think? What are your thoughts?
Well, I didn't know any of these people. So when I go in there, I got there before they did. And like I said, I had just gone in there to teach to do like a little boxing thing with this couple. It's basically how she like painted it. I had to go and give mitts to this couple on camera. And I was like, yeah, that's easy. I can do that. And then when I got there, the camera lady, she told me like, oh, like what I want you to do is kind of like pretend give them mitts, but then like step back and like start asking them questions, and then they're going to start arguing about something because they've got things that they're going to talk about. And I was like, okay, sure. So then when I pretty much kind of just did that, but when I got there, it actually turns out that not only, they're barely really a couple, but they don't even understand what they're saying to each other. So I speak Spanish, and the girl's Dominican, like straight from the Dominican Republic, and she's hilarious to be. If you understood Spanish, it would have made the show 20 times better because she was honestly really funny.
Well, so I don't know if you watched the show last night, but there was a whole conversation you had with her before they put any subtitles up. So we had no idea what you guys were saying. For those of us like me who can't speak Spanish and don't understand much of it, can you tell me what you guys were talking about?
I was pretty much just asking her, okay, I remember one part of it. I was asking her, what is the problem with, like, what is he doing wrong? And then she was like, oh, he's over here. He must think I'm crazy. He flew me all the way out here to, like, have pictures of him with his ex. And, like, how would that make you feel if I had pictures of me with my ex and this and that and the other? And then I was like, oh, okay, well, you got a point, because my ex-girlfriend at the time was pretty much on the same thing, but I didn't have any of that stuff. That's a different subject, but she was like that. So I remember being like, yo, bro, come on, man. How you going to have a picture of your ex? And he was like, no.
Right.
And he was like, the thing is that it's a picture of my ex, but my son is in the picture. So it's like a family picture, like my son was in the picture, which to me, I took it as like that was justifiable. But she was just not having it. And then I remember there was at one point where she was saying like, oh, he was like, he took me to buy clothes when I got here. Like she was like, I don't have any clothes. She's like, when he took me to buy clothes, he took me to a thrift store. And I was like,
this is true. Yeah.
And then he was like, and then she was like, hilarious. And she was like, how the hell am I going to go and shop at a thrift store using used people's clothes, dirty clothes, blah, blah, blah. And she was just going off. And he couldn't understand what she was saying. So I kind of had to tell him, which I would be very, very surprised if they're together to this day. Are they together to this day?
We don't know yet. That's part of what I'm trying to uncover. They're under non-disclosure agreement, so they're not supposed to talk about their relationship while the show is airing. But part of what I do is try to find out that stuff.
Uncover. Uncover.
Yes. Because there's always stuff happening. There's always craziness that's happening, and Yeah, with them, I don't know. We haven't found it. We haven't found anything on them yet. But these
No, yeah, that
seasons
was
still young.
pretty disastrous. Just because, man, that just sounded like she was a lot, and he just really seemed like a nice guy, kind of. You know what I mean?
But his janky thrift store ass, Robert.
Yeah, I didn't actually watch the episode because, like I said, I don't have TV. But he seemed like he was a nice guy. He just seemed like he didn't know what he was getting himself into, and he seemed like he had a lot of baggage on the side anyways. You know what I mean?
Well, what we know about him is that he has 5 kids by 4 baby daddies or baby mamas.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's a lot of baggage.
Yeah.
And then he was doing all these things though. Like, he paid for her. Like, he was talking about all this money he spent on. Like, he was telling me about all this money that he had to spend to like be able to like do some of the paperwork to get her here.
Mm-hmm.
And like, she was just kind of like, well, he has to pay all this stuff if he wants me, blah blah blah. And like, I mean, that's why I said, man, I don't know. She was taking him for a ride, but she was.
You think she's just in it for the green card?
Man, I mean, like, that's my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Maybe she turns around and loves the guy. I don't know. But from what I got at that very moment, and then, you know what I mean, in time, was that she was basically, I think she was using them for the papers, maybe, or I think she was just having fun on the TV show. You know, she was really good on TV. I'll say that. She was really fun.
She's a good-looking woman. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, I don't know.
Well, no, that's actually a good segue to my next question. Is a lot of people think that you and her would be a good couple.
That's so funny.
Like, you guys had more chemistry than they did.
We probably did because we got along well because she's funny and I could understand what she was saying. And he couldn't, you know what I mean? Which was like the big part of the problem where I was like, how is this going to work when I can't understand what she's saying? She's hilarious and I think she could have her own TV show. But but I think, honestly, I think I would tread away from those waters. I think that's in trouble.
So have you seen them? Have you seen them since?
No. I don't know them. That was the first time and the last time I had ever met them.
Like, last time they didn't come in again for another marriage therapy session?
They didn't. They said that they were, and I think that was more for TV. But I guess they said I was a friend of Robert's. I'm not. I mean, not that he's not a cool guy, but
no, I don't think they said that you were a friend of his. I mean, they listed your title as Miguel Pro Boxer, which from my searching last night trying to find you on Instagram, which I was successful at within about 30 minutes, I will say, I've discovered you are in fact a professional boxer. You have a whole profile and win-loss record, actually like a lot of wins and no losses from what I remember.
Yeah, only one. Yeah, only one.
Okay.
But
okay. Yeah, so they said, so here's the thing with the show. There's a trope with the show where these couples have their crazy nonsense, whatever their issues are, and they always dump it on these ancillary characters, whether it's like a jewelry store person or whether it's usually it's a sales clerk of some kind, like at a store, at a, in your case, it was the boxer. And so I knew as soon as I walked in, like, oh, this guy's going to be a marriage therapist. And then you say this, like, I'm not a marriage therapist. Yeah, that's true. You don't need a marriage therapist, just a marriage counselor to know that these two aren't going to last.
You just didn't need. Yeah, you didn't need to know. I had to have a conversation with both of them, and that was about it. When I was like, man, this is impossible, bro. What are you doing? You know, like, you can't even understand what she's saying.
So did you guys do like a full session, or was it just like abbreviated for the sake of the show? It was
more like, it was, honestly, I don't even think they sweat, because I did have them do like punches on the mitts for like a minute, and then punches on the mitts for like a minute, and then they told me to like kind of like watch them talk and then ask them questions, and when I asked them, they wanted to set it up to where they started arguing about whatever it is they had a problem with. In that case, was the fact that he had pictures up of his ex,
Right.
and that he took her to a thrift store to buy clothes. And she was not having it. And you can't speak to somebody like that when they're like that, because they're just not having it. And when somebody's not having it, they're not having it. And so he basically, the only way he could have won that would be to take down the pictures and keep them in his wallet or keep them around somewhere. You know what I mean? If you're
Right. They don't need to be public. Like, no one's asking you to have like a burn party, but like they're public on social media. Like, they don't need to be.
Exactly. I think that was more where I could say, like, you could kind of make way for her in that aspect. Like, take it off the social stuff and keep it for yourself somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Right.
Where you can look at it when you want to. You know what I mean?
Right. And when your kids may want to see pictures of
Absolutely.
you guys with it.
You don't want to burn those pictures. Exactly.
Well,
you don't
and
want to burn those pictures.
if it's the older kids, he doesn't have contact with them mostly because of situations with their baby mamas. So he doesn't really have a lot of. Only the younger one. Yeah, only the younger one, Bryson, that lives with him, whose grandmother is porn granny, who I'm also trying to get an interview with. But Diamond Fox.
You got a way
is her
better
name.
story than I do. I'll tell you that.
Oh, I don't know. We got the hot professional boxer, and we got hot porn star. Like, these are the most interesting aspects of their story. So the number one question I've got about you is are you single?
Yes, I'm single.
Oh, you hear that,
Just got out
ladies?
of a relationship, too.
Oh, he's looking for the rebound.
Just got out of a relationship. Yeah.
And you are a professional boxer, right? So tell
Yes.
me a little bit about that.
So I'm 18-1 with 12 knockouts. Should be 13. I hurt my left labrum on my shoulder. So I was supposed to be fighting in August, and then my opponent got injured. And then I was supposed to be fighting in, I think it was November, and then I got injured. So I'll be getting surgery in January, and I won't be back in the ring till summer. So probably July, August, but it will be televised, my next fight. It would be on Fox, and I'm signed with Premier Boxing Champions, which is basically all the fights that are on Fox, that particular channel. So I should be fighting on Fox in the summer, and hopefully again in December, and I'll be back on track. But for right now, I'm not really teaching or boxing due to the injury, so I'm kind of just resting.
So you're looking for someone to help you occupy time. Ladies, if you want him to occupy your time, or if you want him to knock you out,
I literally have about 6 months of free time. So I guess that's not a bad way to start.
Not a bad way to start. You can find him at Miguel Cruz Official on Instagram. I have that linked. I'll have it linked in the show notes, and your Instagram is going to go absolutely crazier than it already has. I really appreciate
the interview. Thank you.
I really appreciate it. I appreciate you coming on. People wanted to know. People wanted me to talk to you, and I have quite a few ladies that wanted to get your phone number. I don't think we're going to go quite that far, but you can slide into his DMs if you want him to knock you out.
Exactly. There's all kinds of ways to get that information if you're qualified.
If you qualify.
But
the qualifiers. I love it. I love it.
Thank you so much, though. I really appreciate it.
And good luck with your surgery. I've had that shoulder surgery done 3 times now. So.
Oh Lord. Yeah.
And now I have the fake.
I hope everything goes well. I really do.
Now I have the fake shoulder. So. It's not a lot of fun. Good luck with that. You'll need someone to nurse you back to health. So, ladies, slide into his DMs. Miguel, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
So there you have it. There's Miguel. You guys know what to do. Hit up his DMs. And we'll have all of that linked in the show notes. Miguel Cruz Official is his Instagram, ladies.
Go ahead and send over your nursing credentials.
Physical therapist.
Oh my.
Work that shoulder. If you're in Central Florida. Anyway, just saying. Okay, so we're going to close it out with our shout outs. Now, there's some shout outs that I apparently missed last week. So, you guys, I wanted to apologize that I missed these in my inbox. I do apologize. I'm not trying to intentionally cut you off. So, we have Roberta says, great interview as always. This is referring to the Danielle interview.
Oh,
Glad to have Hetero Life Mate back. You both have awesome chemistry on the podcast, and I'm sure in other ways as well. LMBO. Yeah, we do. I look forward to hearing each podcast. Your podcast is my first podcast I ever listened to. So thank you, Roberta. I appreciate it a lot. And Hetero Life Mate will be back on at some point. I'm not sure when. And Lori says, hi again, just letting you know I'm out here listening and enjoying. Keep up the excellent interviews and tea service. Well, thank you very much, Lori. I'm glad to be of service. And then Linda says, just want to say, love your podcast. Wanted to wish you much success with this. You found the greatest idea, and I bet it goes far. God bless, Linda. Well, thank you very much. I actually have one other one. Now, this came from the Podbean app, so I missed this the first time you guys had it, so I apologize. It says, Felicia Cheeks says, love your show, and now my fiance is addicted to your podcast. Can you give us a shout out? Love you. Felicia and Greg, San Francisco Bay Area, California. So, Felicia and Greg, I'm sorry it took me so long to get to you guys. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it. And I am also from the San Francisco Bay Area, so go Giants. And just as a reminder, you can find us at The Fraudcast on Instagram. You can find me at Frauded by TLC. And where can they find you?
You know, it's not so easy as that. So cactus_fruit_juice on Instagram.
There you go. And you can also find us on the Facebook group, The Fraudcasters, Facebook groups / fraud, The Fraudcasters. You can find us there. Also, as a reminder, if you enjoy what you're listening to and you like us and you want to give us 5 stars, you're shouting in the car, this is a 5-star podcast, go ahead and hit 5 stars on that Apple podcast for us. We appreciate it, and it does help things along on this end. But we don't do it for the stars. We do it for you and all the tea. And I am Frauded by TLC, and I am dumpster diving, so you don't have to.
You can find your Fraudcaster on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Frauded by TLC, and on the web at talkersoffraud.com. This Fraudcast has been produced and edited by yours truly. Art by Sarah Dawdy. Music written, produced, and performed by Ooh Mommy. Segment producer at iHeart Reality TV Shows. Further assistance provided by many unnamed fraud consultants.